Hey everybody, I'm back on my MOC and I'm working on, this is actually no longer the prototype's over there in the corner. Started working on getting everything. I've laid down the base. This is all going to be covered up with tiles. As you can see, I've run out of tan tiles. But this is the lesson I have learned. I have built everything. I don't know if you can quite see the edges. I've built everything on a 3-stud scale, and as most of you know, Lego is designed primarily on even number pieces. So what I had a problem with is I wanted to use the actual Lego doors for my doors here, even though they should only be 3 studs, kind of like the fake entry on the side. But I wanted to be able to use the trans black window in here. And this was just going to be the best way. So the problem is, how do you center it when you're on an odd number of studs? Because to do that, you have to be right on a stud. Obvious answer is jumper plates. Here's the problem. So when you put these on, that does line it up perfectly in the middle here, but you may not be able to see it here. You're left with a 3/4 plate gap, and Lego, the smallest it comes in, actually it's a plate and a quarter gap is actually what you're left with. Lego only comes in, the smallest is a half a plate thick. Half a plate is the edge of pieces like this, the cheese plate, things like that. That's the smallest you can do, so there's nothing that will actually fill that gap. So that was my first problem. And this door shouldn't have anything around it, and so I didn't want to have anything obstruct it too much. So what I did at first was I used the 2x2 jumper plates to not only give me that centering, but also offset it a half a plate back. And then, so I didn't obscure the doors too much, I decided to use 1x1 rounds and stick them here and here. So it really doesn't, because they're round, it doesn't obstruct the door quite as much as a square brick would. And then when I put in the rest of the pieces, it fills up the gap. Now there is a slight light here on the side, but once the whole building is built, that'll be dark inside, so you won't be able to see it. And then we come to our next problem. Once you've done that, in order to get this all lined back up again, you've got to realign everything. So I had to take those same 2x2 jumpers. Oh, and I offset those columns by a regular jumper plate that came out along the side. Otherwise, then I'd still have a gap because I used the 2x2 jumpers. So we'll get this all lined back up. Now what that did is it created a shelf for me that is not what I want there. So again, I had to take the 2x2 jumpers here. Now the problem, or the 1x2 jumpers on the bottom edge of this as well. And I didn't want that shelf, so you can see when I put this on, it's going to create a shelf. I didn't want that really showing, so I decided to use these sloped pieces. Problem is, I can't put one here because I've got that quarter plate gap because I'm using a jumper plate right there. So I'm going to just have to do this. And I don't want that out any further because this shouldn't technically even be there anyways. So I'm going to line these up here and then just have the columns be essentially a decorative edge. So that is, and then I'll probably put a 1x1 plate right there and right there once I'm done. But that right there is the beginnings of the true entryway. You can see the columns, once they go in, will go in right there. They will obstruct that a little bit, but that's okay. That's what it looks like. And then I've decided to use, I think you can see right back in here, gray bricks for the back side of the building. This actually isn't that inaccurate because the original building was built next to a building on this side anyway, so this was a different color brick anyways. They have gone in later and put in some windows, which I don't think I'll do, but this was never the same color as this wall anyway, so technically it's accurate, and I'm just doing this because it's a lot easier to find gray bricks than it is to find tan bricks. Anyways, that's the kind of the modification of the entry. It's starting to take shape, and now I have to buy a lot of bricks, so it actually may be a while before the next video. But anyways, we'll see you next time.